The House will come to order. This morning, the pledge will be said by Hannah Rollins, Miranda Burton, Girl Scouts from Troop 74, and Crest Hill Middle School in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, guests of Representative Ransom.
Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Randall, please call the roll. Okay.
Representatives Arndt,
Oh, okay.
Baisley, Beckman, Benavides,
Goodbye.
Representative Benavides, Byrd, Bockenfeld, Buck, Buckner, Puenteo, Caraveo, Carver, Catlin, Representative Catlin.
Excused.
Representative Catlin is present. Coleman, Cutter, Duran, Escar, Exum, Exum,
Excused.
Froelich, Galindo, Garnett, Geithner, Gonzalez Gutierrez, Gray, Hanson, Herod, Hooten, Humphrey, Jackson, Marquez Lewis, Kennedy, Kipp, Kraft-Tharp, Landgraf, Larson, Lewis, Liston, Lontine, McCluskey, McKean, McLaughlin, Melton, Michelson Janae, Mullica, Neville, Pelton, Ransom, Rich, Roberts, Sane, Sandridge, Singer,
Excused.
Sirota, Snyder, Soper,
Excused.
Sullivan, Tipper, Titone, Valdez A, Valdez D, Van Winkle, Weissman, Williams, Wilson. Madam Speaker, Representative Singer is present.
With 62 present, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, we have a quorum. Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is a pleasure to serve with you.
It is a pleasure to serve with you, Representative.
I move that the reading of the Journal of Friday, February 15th, 2019 be dispensed with and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No! I knew that was coming. The motion is passed. Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, Thursday at noon, we will be having the Health Caucus meeting at LSB A. Hope to see you there.
Any other announcements and introductions? Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
Thank you, Representative. It's an honor to serve with you.
Thank you. Members, I have some special guests here in the Capitol today. They came all the way from Cortez, Colorado. Now, I don't think you can live any further away from Denver than Cortez, believe me. I made that trek last week. But anyway, I would like to welcome the Cortez Lighthouse Baptist Church. If you see them, thank them for me for being here.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to remind all the members that there is a reception for Metro State University Go Road Runners tonight from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Aerospace and Engineering Science Department. So hope to see you there.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, we have some great people in the House. We have both physician's assistants and we have naturopathic doctors. So please welcome them, and they can probably take care of everything that ails you.
Representative Jaquez Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We also have guests here from Skyline High School, I believe. Is that right? Yes. We have 60 AP government students here. So Longmont is in the house. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us today. Representative Ransom and Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, tomorrow the Aerospace and Defense Caucus Lunch will be happening. Hope to see you there to talk about innovation and how we're exploring more in the state of Colorado.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And we're going to be talking specifically about the workforce as it applies to aerospace and defense. So we invite everybody to come and join us. It will be tomorrow in the Legislative Office Building across the street, the Sherman Building, from at 12 noon. And it's at the 6th floor conference room, and we invite everybody to come join us.
Thank you.
Well done. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm glad you recognized me, because if you listen to my voice, you wouldn't recognize me. Colleagues, on your desk, there's your invitation to the Hot Dog Day coming up Thursday, and there'll be a guest speaker there. Wait for it. Left side of the aisle, wait for it, from Senator Michael Bennett's office, talking about Target Practice and Marksmanship Training Support Act. So just thought I'd throw that out. You better come and listen.
Representative Lentine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Representative Wilson, I hope that you bring me back a haunch of venison, so I think that's a great idea. Actually, members, I'm talking to my Health and Insurance Committee members. We are meeting today upon adjournment in room 107 to talk about House Bill 1095. Thanks.
Representative Arndt and Buck.
Okay, today's the day you've been waiting for. It's clothing swap day at 5 o'clock in Representative Hooten and Michelson Janae's office. We'll have wine, cheese, crackers, and we'll also promise you a good time.
Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. But if you want to look like Representative Jenny Arndt, how good she looks every day, how professional, come and join the swap, because if you could only be a size 2, right?
You can have my clothes.
Always structured. Sure. Representative Gray.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, members, I want to welcome the young folks from the Broomfield Teen Council who are joining us here today. There will be the people who will be fixing all the laws that we get wrong when they run for office here in the next several years. Also, Transportation and Local Government Committee. We will be meeting upon adjournment today in room 112 to hear House Bills 1138, 1052, and Senate Bill 17. See you there.
Thank you, Broomfield City Council, for joining us. Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would love to welcome everybody from District 59, but nobody could make it out of there because of the snow. So in my heart, I welcome you wherever you are, but luckily we're snowed in over there. So, okay, Education Committee, couple things for you. Today we're hearing Senate Bill 39, and we are hearing House Bill 1123. And tomorrow, during our joint education meeting, we're listening to innovation and creativity by schools and districts and getting off the accountability clock. It's a good clock to leave. Thank you very much.
Representative Weissman.
Thank you and good morning, Madam Speaker. This is a reminder for judiciary members. We have two bills on our calendar today. Senate Bill 43 by Representatives Herod and Carver, also House Bill 1119 by Representative Coleman, room 112, 1:30 p.m.
Representative Kraftart.
Thank you. I want to say a big welcome to the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce, who's here joining us today. Everybody wave. And then second is, in their honor, the Business Committee, Business Affairs and Labor Committee will not be meeting today or tomorrow.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, for those of you that have been here more than just the last few weeks, 3 years ago, I had an addition to my family, my granddaughter. And since I'm born in October, and I never get to be the subject of the Capitol Choir, I thought I'd just show my granddaughter's picture up here. She's 3 years old today. So her name is Remy. And she's a light of her grandpa's life. She calls me Pa, believe it or not. So thank you for your attention.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Guess what? Capitol Choir, come on down. Hello, Representative Kennedy.
Who is the celebrant?
Is this for Remy or what? My granddaughter. Oh.
We'll add Remy in there. So how are we? All right. So, as you all know, the Capitol Choir comes down to celebrate the birthdays of our members and our friends and our family. We spend a lot of time with each other in this room. And so we would like to celebrate the birthday of one of our favorite people who is entering her 30th decade, I hear. Perhaps we ought to turn around and sing happy birthday to Christine. Stand up. Come on, Christine. Come on, Christine.
All right, let's sing.
All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Christine. Happy birthday to you. We love you.
Assistant Majority Leader Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of State Veterans and Military Affairs will be meeting this afternoon at 1:30 in LSBA to hear one bill, House Bill 1173. Another bill currently on the calendar, Senate Bill 68, is going to be laid over until February 26 due to sponsor availability.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I just want to make a quick announcement about calendar this week. We are going to do just thirds today because there's upon adjournment committees. And then in terms of second reading, we're going to try to do the most that we can tomorrow. But I just want to give a heads up. We're going to reserve the right to come back to the floor tomorrow night after afternoon committees. So just heads up, as you're planning your week, we may have to do that, and I'll give you an update tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.
Members, did you all hear that announcement from Majority Leader Garnett? Do you want to give it another?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And just another heads up on calendar. We're going to do thirds today. We're going to do seconds tomorrow morning. If we can't get through everything, we reserve the right to come back to the floor after committee meetings tomorrow evening to finish up second reading. I just want to give you guys a heads up as you plan your week. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I asked to be excused on Friday, February 22nd. It's as approved by the Majority Leader.
Permission is granted.
Thank you.
Any other announcements or introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Majority Leader Garnett. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1152.
House Bill 1152, Representatives Herod and Galindo, Senator Gonzalez, concerning eliminating the requirement that a student member of the State Student Advisory Council for Community Colleges and Occupational Education must be an in-state tuition for student for tuition purposes prior to the election of the State Student Advisory Council for Community Colleges and Occupational Education.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1152 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1152 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members, please vote. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1152 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1108.
House Bill 1108, Representatives Liston and Hooten, Senator Tate, concerning measures to expand the ability of non-resident electors to participate in the governance of special districts and in connection therewith allowing non-resident electors who own taxable property within the special district to vote in special district elections and allowing such electors to serve on special district boards in a non-voting capacity.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1108 on third reading and final passage.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Friends and colleagues, I'd like to emphasize a few points about Representative Hooten's and my bill that you might not have heard last Friday in all the hubbub when the bill was discussed. So I thank you for trying to listen to the logic of House Bill 1108. We pass bills in this chamber every day that use the words directives, mandates, legislative edicts, rules and regulations on what people can and cannot do. This body commonly uses the word shall on many bills that we pass all the time. You shall do this, you shall not do this. Let me give you a couple of examples just from the other day. From just last week on House Bill 1114, and this is directly from the bill. The department has and shall exercise the following functions and powers. From House Bill 1137, the Department of Higher Education shall establish teacher cadet programs and so forth. From House Bill 1078, the society shall require this and that. From House Bill 1106, the bill requires a landlord to provide any prospective tenant, so forth and so on. So, we use this word shall and shall not, but our bill, House Bill 1108, does not even use the word shall. It is strictly voluntary. We are not directing or compelling anyone to do anything. I've said almost sarcastically, tongue-in-cheek, this bill does nothing. But it certainly is not a mandate. All it does, once again, is we are not directing the special district to mandate to do anything. It does not require the special district to give the out-of-state citizens the opportunity to vote. All this district has to do, if they don't want to do it, is do nothing. They do not even have to take it up for a vote. It is strictly voluntary under our bill for the board to do so. It is opt-in, not opt-out. There is a huge difference. Like I say, there is no shell that compels the board to allow the out-of-state property owner to be allowed to vote. Yet there is so much angst about this bill, about simply giving a citizen the opportunity to speak their mind about self-governance. I truly don't understand the fear for these good out-of-state citizens. Remember, 10 other states already allow for this, and it has worked fine for them, in some cases for over 40 years. If we can send ballots to our good men and women in the military halfway around the world, allowing them the ability to vote, then why can't we at least give U.S. citizens who own property the opportunity to vote for a special district board where they have a long-standing family, civic, and property interest? I think we can. Remember, this is voluntary by a vote of the board. If they say no, that is acceptable. The board itself is the final arbiter of this situation. It was said on Friday about this bill that this is for rich property owners who will be able to vote in multiple times. That is simply false. Property owners can only vote if their respective boards allow it, and then the property owner has to go through a lengthy process just to get their ballot, much less to vote it. Remember, this is voluntary by the board to opt in. It is not mandatory. Also know that if it were not for the out-of-state property owners paying taxes year after year, many special districts could not function or even exist. Out-of-state property owners are an integral part of a special district. Right now, the special district takes their money and ignores them completely. It truly is taxation without representation. Is that right? We don't think so. Let me point out a couple of other good reasons why you should vote for this bill. If you care about voting rights, about empowering citizens who are engaged, who are civic-minded, who pay taxes year after year, then you should vote for this bill. It is voluntary. If you care about defending people's property rights and for a person's ability to exercise local control, then this bill is for you. Remember, the option to do so is voluntary. I find it ironic that we just now voted for a bill to empower out-of-state students to be able to vote on and set policy for the State Board of Community Colleges. While these students are from out of state, they can vote they can vote for matters that impact in-state students, yet they don't live here full time. How interesting. Well, I may have my concerns about this bill that was just passed. Like I say, these students have barely lived in Colorado. They don't own property. They don't pay any taxes, or at least they don't pay property taxes, yet they can vote on matters of public policy which affect everyone here in our state. So if you just voted for 1152, which I think most everybody did, then why should you not be able to vote for a bill that is simply voluntary for a district and is voluntary for a person who has owned property in their district for 20, 30, in some cases 50 years or more, and they have paid taxes in all of those years? Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, this bill is fair, it's reasonable, no one gets hurt, and let me remind you, the bill is voluntary. I ask for your vote for House Bill 1108. Thank you very much.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I feel like we're having deja vu, Representative Liston. I think we did this exact thing last year. I just wanted to offer the alternative perspective on this bill and some reasons why the comments of my friend from El Paso County may not be exactly correct. First of all of us are here representing the voters of our district, not the second homeowners of our district. This bill enshrines in statute the ability for a second homeowner to vote in elections in Colorado while retaining their voting power in the other state that they live in. This is not equal to sending ballots to our good veterans across overseas. They don't get to vote twice. They vote once, and they choose to vote in Colorado. If you want to vote in Colorado, register to vote in Colorado and give up your registration in the other state. This bill says that we have two classes of people in our state. We have all the regular voters, people who live here, and then we have the people who have the good fortune and the hard work, sure, to buy a second home in Colorado. I don't believe that we should have those two classes of people in Colorado. This bill enshrines that into statute. One person, one vote. I urge a no vote on this bill.
Is there any further discussion? The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1108 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Representatives Byrd, Bockenfeld, Buenteo, Garnett, Geithner, Kraft-Tharp, Sandridge. Please close the machine. With 34 aye votes, 28 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1108 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1137.
House Bill 1137 by Representatives Wilson and Valdez D. Also Senator Briola, concerning supporting high school students' interest in early childhood education through the Teacher Cadet Program.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1137 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1137 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Representatives Baisley and Bockenfeld. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1137 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1155.
House Bill 1155 by Representatives Michelson, Janae, and Carver, all Senators Lundin and Foote, concerning adding certain conduct to the definition of sexual contact.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1155 on third reading and final passage.
The question before the House is the passage of House Bill 1155 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1155 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1129.
House Bill 1129, Representatives Michelson, Janae, and Escar, Senator Finberg, concerning prohibiting a mental health care provider from engaging in conversion therapy with a patient under 18 years of age.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1129 on third reading and final passage.
Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Things were moving right along the other day, and didn't get to come down and make a few comments on this bill. Similar to in years past, I have free speech concerns with the bill. There's a lot of issues that aren't scientifically settled. I'm concerned about discrimination based on viewpoint and content with the bill. I think that a focus on particular practices is a different conversation, but here we're banning speech. I know that sometimes I think that ECT, electroconvulsive therapy, has been used, things like that. That's a different conversation. I just think that this is a very broad bill, and the danger from a marketplace of ideas perspective is that normative beliefs regarding sexual orientation change efforts, not factual ones, held by the legislative majority are being used to silence or could be used to silence expression in the form of speech-based sexual orientation change efforts on minors. Lawmakers arguably are asserting their version of the truth about the issue based on their political and religious values, and not necessarily factual findings. And I think that's a debate that's still going on, and that's important. And so, I don't stand up in favor of any particular entity engaging in this sort of thing, and I've had no experience with this personally as a counselor, as a therapist in the past. But my concerns go to the free speech issue, so I'll be a no vote based on those concerns. Thank you.
Representative Michelson Janae.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative, for coming forward and giving us an opportunity to just share the conversation on this. We did have an amendment that was added that protected free speech around conversion therapy. If you'll check on the amendment that was added, and it was based specifically off of conversations that were had in the committee hearing on the Tampa case. So please just check out that amendment. The other piece of that from a religious perspective, we are not in any way, shape, or form stopping what a minister or a pastor or an imam or a rabbi might do in counsel with their member. This is specifically regarding licensed therapists, and so a licensed therapist may not go out and do this practice.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, thank you for giving us a little more time to talk about this. I know we were trying to move things along on Friday, and I don't know if we really had the opportunity to talk much openly about this issue. I didn't say much on Friday because I feel like I've said so much on this bill every single year it comes through about protecting children, about protecting kids, about making sure that people that kids trust and people that kids love aren't telling them that there's something wrong with them, aren't trying to convert them to their idea of how they should be. It's damaging, it's harmful, it's something I've seen firsthand as a counselor for LGBT kids in a youth group. These have been hard conversations with them. But I gotta tell you, I admire this generation that's coming up and saying, I know exactly who I am. I couldn't figure out what had been rocking me the last few weeks. I feel like as an LGBT member, I figured out my place. Took me a long time to come out. Took me a long time to figure out why I was not happy. As I was taking care of my wife this weekend, who's been struck down with the flu, couldn't figure out what was shaking me so hard. Until I remember sitting through hours of debate on Friday and people throwing around, looking out for the LGBT community like it was just a phrase that they had to say. Then realizing there has been legislation this year alone with some people who I consider friends' names on it that want to be able to tell me my marriage isn't equal to yours, that want to tell me that I should not be able to adopt children because of who I love. Why is that rocking me to my core? And why am I up here fighting for this bill? Because I'm an adult who got through it. I'm an adult who found a great therapist who helped me move on and move forward with my life. Yeah, what happens in this building today still impacts me and shakes me to my core. So you want to talk about conversion therapy and how it's free speech or not free speech? We're talking about lives of kids. This is a therapy that has been proven to be dangerous and harmful. My therapy wasn't, and I still deal with this every single day as an openly gay woman. So I'm sorry to take up your time today, but I didn't have a chance to talk about this on Friday. And I had to come down here and really talk about why we have to start supporting our kids, regardless of their sexuality, regardless of the gender they represent. Our kids deserve better, and our kids deserve to grow up in a world where they can stand in front of their colleagues and know that their colleagues believe they are just as equal to them. I urge a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before the House is the passage of House Bill 1129 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Please close the machine. With 42 aye votes, 20 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1129 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1175.
House Bill 1175 by Representative Grial, Senator Gonzalez, concerning the property tax valuation appeal process.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1175 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1175 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Please close the machine. With 61 aye votes, 1 no vote, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1175 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1032.
House Bill 1032 by Representatives Lontine and Caravale, Senators Todd and Quorum, concerning comprehensive human sexuality education in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1032 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1032 on third reading and final passage. Representative Baisley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So we've sure talked about this quite a bit on Friday, did we not? And I slept for all 3 of those days after all of that. I wanted to express to everyone here, really, that the spirit of 1032 is not lost on, I don't think, anyone, which is the desire to institute in our community the acceptance of those who struggle with acceptance, who are rejected in their lives from early on. The objection that conservatives have had and that I have had on this is primarily that the acceptance is a forced acceptance. Government is force. And so to have a forced acceptance is not a genuine acceptance. We need to do better. There's been at least one bill that I intended to present this session that I did not, because after consideration realized it would be better with mere influence, just talking within the community and trying to influence folks to behave in an improved fashion, and that's what we need to do. I know it's a slow burn, but it's the appropriate one. Parents need to be able to rely on their government to protect and defend their relationship with their children. Talk with the parents, don't force them, and don't force stepping in between them and their children. They also need to rely on the Constitution that defends their role in their children's lives, and that's what we have. And that is why I'll urge for the last time that we vote no on 1032 for this specific reason, that in the bill the words specifically say a public school that offers human sexuality instruction must ensure the instruction meets comprehensive human sexuality education content requirements. And in the Constitution of the great state of Colorado, it reads that the directors of the local board of education shall have control of instruction in the public schools of their respective districts. This is not a constitutional bill, and for that reason and for the spirit, I urge that we vote down 1032. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I too want to just get up and urge a no vote on this bill based on our local school board control. We talked about this at length on Friday, and we all live in school districts in the state of Colorado, and it's important that our locally elected school boards get to make decisions for our local schools. We have so many different types of schools here in Colorado. We have city and suburban and rural schools, and each of the school districts elect their own boards that are elected by the people of those districts. And just like we would not welcome the federal government coming in and telling our local school boards what they should be teaching and what they should be doing, I stand up to support our local school boards making these decisions for our local schools and our local students. I urge a no vote on this bill.
Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I too rise in opposition to this bill. I think this bill misleads parents when it comes to opting out. The bill categorizes human sexuality into 4 topics and says that instruction only occurs when 2 or more topics are presented. So when a teacher is presenting only one of the 4 topics, the teacher is not instructing under terms of the bill. To cite one example, the second topic on page 9, line 3 of the bill consists of sexual orientation, sexuality, or sexual activity. The bill asserts that parents need not be notified about any programming dealing with gender expression, sexual orientation, or healthy relationships when it occurs outside the context of human sexuality instruction. How can these topics be outside the context of human sexuality instruction? and therefore immune to parental notification. This deeply concerns me because I don't even think this gives the parent the opportunity to be informed and opt out. Not to mention, I think these topics should be an informed and opt-in rather than opt-out. I also believe that this bill is going to leave our school districts open to litigation. Because any school attempting to teach youth about sex, for example, explaining reproduction from a purely biological or scientific point of view, might possibly be subject to legal jeopardy and sanction under the terms of this bill. That's a take it all or leave it approach, and I don't think that is tolerance. I think that is intolerance. Unlike some people, I don't believe that the 95% of the people that came down here to testify against this bill were ill-informed or haven't read it. And I hate to impugn the intelligence of all our fine citizens that came down to testify against this bill. I think they were informed, and they came here to show their concerns. I don't think that they had enough opportunities to share their concerns about this bill. And I urge a no vote on this bill.
Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This bill has generated a lot of passion on both sides of the aisle. And when I began to work on this bill over 2 years ago, my goal was to make sure that what was happening in our schools was what the intent of the 2013 bill expressed. And that clearly is not happening right now. The 2013 bill was very clear that if you taught sex ed, it should be comprehensive. And it also should be LGBT inclusive. But that is not the education that our children are getting. I did want to speak to the constitutionality real quick. And that is to say that our Constitution, our U.S. Constitution and our state Constitution is very clear. Our schools are not allowed to promote religious or sectarian tenets, period. It's in our Constitution. So to say this is unconstitutional is incorrect. Parents have every opportunity to opt their kids out. They will be given written notice, and if they do not want their kids to receive this instruction, then they can opt them out. That's pretty simple. I would like to go back to the issue of being inclusive with LGBT kids. And this comes from a story of when I was growing up. I grew up in a small southern town. And at my church, we had this man there who was our youth pastor, and he also did music. He was the most wonderful, kind man. He spoke to our hearts. He really knew how to reach out to kids. And he was outed in the most awful way, because it turns out he was gay. This was in 1979, I believe. It's been a while. The pastor of our church stood up, castigated and maligned this good man, and kicked him out of our church. Because obviously he was gay and not worthy to speak to or have anything to do with our kids. I won't go into what all was said about him. It's been a long time ago. I can't remember all the words. But I remember leaving that church sanctuary that day, walking home because we lived about a block away from the church, crying because I knew I was going to miss him, and I haven't seen him since. I don't know what happened to him. For so long, we have allowed religion to malign people that are different. And if we are not teaching our kids to be inclusive of people who are different than they are, then we are perpetuating that. And that is what desperately needs to be addressed. This isn't about teaching the values or teaching our children to be gay. It's just teaching them that not everybody is exactly the way you are, and that's okay, because we should all be allowed to live our authentic life. So I ask for your aye vote on House Bill 1032. Thank you.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As we take the vote today on this bill, it's pretty obvious that it's going to pass. So I'm sending out an SOS to the good people of Colorado. This is not over. It needs to go to the Senate committee and then to the Senate. You've had your voice. It was heard by many. Let your voice be heard.
Representative Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, we heard plenty of times that the public seemed to be misinformed, confused. I think the confusion lies in this body. The confusion lies in this body because the challenge of where we see how it aligns with the Constitution is Article 9, Education, Section 1, Supervision of Schools. Board of Education states, the general supervision of the public schools of the state shall be invested in a Board of Education whose powers and duties shall be as now or hereafter prescribed by law. Article 9, Education, Section 15, school districts state in part, said directors shall have control of the instruction in the public schools of their respective districts. There is confusion in this body on 1032, and I urge a no vote.
Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, one of those things that this bill that does not actually touch on is people of different faiths, Christians like me, who were bullied in high school. People like me who, were made fun of in my high school years for remaining celibate and eventually marrying my one and only, my high school sweetheart. We all get bullied too. And the fact of the matter is, we brought forward amendment after amendment and tried to protect those students as well, because tolerance is a two-way street. But we were not given the same tolerance, and those amendments were defeated. And this bill lacks the protections that those individuals need. Again, I urge a no vote.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. And I'm not going to take a lot of time, but one thing that I want to acknowledge is that this bill is not about religion. It's not about putting Christians against the LGBT community. As a Black, lesbian Christian, we should be able to go to school and be taught, if we are taught sex ed, in a comprehensive way. We cannot ostracize people for their religious beliefs, nor should we for their sexual orientation or gender expression. But this is not a conversation about religion versus LGBT people. There are Christians who are LGBT people. There are Christians who support LGBT people. We cannot continue to use religion to divide us. Religion, in fact, at its core, is about bringing us together and community supporting each other. I will tell you and I'll remind you that there is only one judge, and he is not in this room and sitting in these chairs. The judge is God, and he is in all of us. He is the one to judge, but we are not. And by putting religion against the LGBT community, we are misinterpreting the word. And so I'm going to come down as a Christian, as a Black lesbian, and say this is not okay. And to all of the young people who think that they have to choose between going to church or honoring who they are as a person, their sexual orientation or their gender expression, you don't have to. There are many churches who will welcome you with open arms. I, as a Christian, will welcome you with open arms. Members, we will have a lot of discussions in this body about LGBT issues. And sometimes people who I consider my friends are on the other side of these issues. But do not use religion as a guise for homophobia.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, let me remind you, my Bible says when two or more are gathered, he is here. We have people praying over us right now. But I just want to mention something else. I'm going to repeat what Representative Beckman said about the SOS. Part of the issue we've heard from our constituents is this bill explicitly contains abortion, which is a euphemism for murdering children, especially those who felt pain. And we're teaching our children this. I'm going to send out that SOS again. There's still time, Colorado. This may pass the House today, but it's going to the Senate. And we look forward to hearing your voices again. And we know that you do not misunderstand this bill. The language is plain. Urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1032 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Please close the machine. With 39 aye votes, 23 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1032 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1148.
House Bill 1148, by Representative Paradell, Senators Quorum and Gonzalez, concerning changing the maximum jail sentence to certain crimes from 1 year to 364 days.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1148 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1148 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Representatives Catlin and Humphrey. Please close the machine. With 41 aye votes, 21 no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, House Bill 1148 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 23.
Senate Bill 23 by Senators Tate and Fenberg, also Representatives Kraft, Tharp, and McKean, concerning exemptions from the security laws for cryptocurrencies in connection therewith enacting the Colorado Digital Token Act.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 23 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 23 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Representative Froelich and Kraft-Tharp. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, no votes, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, Senate Bill 23 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Announcements and introductions. Representative Gray.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Transportation, local government, lunch. You like eating lunch, don't you? Today would be a great day for you to have a chance to do that. But if you'd like to do that, then we're going to start exactly 5 minutes after we gavel. We have 3 bills to get through today. Come promptly.
I have 2 announcements. Representative Pelton will substitute for Representative Catlin in Health and Insurance today only, and Representative Catlin will substitute for Representative Ransom in Education today only. Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't see Representative Singer. Never mind, Singer. Thursday is the Children's Caucus. It will be at noon in Senate Room 352. Hopefully you can all be there. Is lunch included?
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For those members who would like to be there on Thursday from 12 to 1, lunch will be included for members of the General Assembly. And get ready to hear some great breakdown from our counties, as well as the big federal changes coming down from Washington, D.C. on a bipartisan level, believe it or not.
Of course.
Of course, why wouldn't it? And so come hear what's happening for our state, for our counties, what this is going to mean in terms of cost to our state, but also where we can actually reap some benefits for our kids.
So remember, Children's Caucus, Thursday.
Members, very quickly, we have a new person in the chamber today. Representative-elect Perry Will is sitting in the back and will be sworn in on March 5th. Welcome, Representative-elect Representative Benavidez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I would like you to help me welcome the 4th grade class, Miss Delene's class from Turnberg Elementary in House District 32. They're right up here.
Hello, Turnbridge Elementary. Representative Jackson. And Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, tomorrow, because I know that we're always hungry, tomorrow we will also be giving you lunch. It is the Colorado Victims' Rights Caucus. The topic is It's Not Over, Post-Sentencing and Victims' Rights. It starts at noon downstairs in room 107.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In this session, we're going to go over one of the main systems we have to notify victims and their families on what is happening with perhaps the person who murdered a family member, where they're at, when their parole hearing is up. So for victims and victims' families, it is not over when there is a conviction and the person goes off to prison. In one sense, they're just moving to another phase and knowing when all these additional post-conviction actions may occur that they need to know about and be present at. So this is how to improve that system. We hope you're able to attend. Again, that's tomorrow at noon.
Members, I have an announcement. Representative Sandridge will substitute for Representative Soper in Judiciary today only. Majority Leader, any other announcements and introductions? Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Wednesday, February 20th.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over till tomorrow. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will be in recess till later today.